Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today it is time for a Protoss versus Terran on Thunderbird LE. Spawning here in the southeast corner of the map and playing with the orange Protoss probes. He's from the greatest country in the world, although I might be slightly biased in that regard. We're looking inside of the main base of Rotterdam. His opponent in the opposite corner playing with the red Terran SCVs from Canada. He goes by the name of Drunkenboi. Now, admittedly, I am not all too familiar with Drunkenboi. I've seen him play a couple times, and from what I've seen, he likes to play the more macro-focused, bio-based Terran armies. The thing is, this was a game that was casted recently by Rifkin on Base Trade TV, and when he posted the replays, he mentioned as well that if you are a content creator, you may very well like to cast this game. So I'm excited to figure out what it is all about. Now, while I'm not all too familiar with Drunkenboi myself, we'll figure that out together. I am very familiar with Rotterdam's playstyle. In case you're unfamiliar, by the way, if you casted, or if you watched rather, any esports event for StarCraft over like the last 9 years, you've probably seen or at the very least heard Rotterdam cast. This man right here has casted over 100 StarCraft 2 events in his career so far. I always kind of feel like he travels more than he's able to stay in one place. But regardless, he casts a ton of StarCraft, but on top of that, he's also actually a very high-level Protoss player. I think actually out of all of the commentators in SC2, he's probably the highest ranked one right now. As of me making this video, he's sitting at just a little bit over 6k MMR at the rank 22 on the Grandmaster ladder in North America, which is very impressive. Most of the commentators are, at the very least, pretty good at the game, but I think Rotti is just a little bit ahead of most of the others. But regardless, I'm excited to see what this game is going to be all about and why it got the Rifkin seal of approval. One of the things I know from personal experience is that Rotterdam likes to play his own playstyle. I've faced off against him about a dozen times on the ladder, and I think I won one game. I actually remember that game. So essentially, right, Rotterdam loves playing Stargate units. He's a big fan of the Phoenix. He likes playing his own builds and his own strategies and his own unit compositions. Now, I won one game against him, and at the time, he was live streaming as well. And I ended up watching the video on demand after he was done with his stream. And he literally says in the game that I end up winning, right? It's like, oh, hey, I'm going up against Lowko again. I guess I'll be nice, and I won't play Stargate this time. So really the only reason why I ended up winning against Rotti is just because he played a build that he's not as comfortable with, and a build that he probably doesn't assume to be better than the one he usually plays. So that's really the only reason why I ended up winning here. Ooh, the one SCV actually gets killed. That probe right there on a bit of a rampage. It's going to be able to pick up one of those SCVs. A little bit painful though. I guess that's the downside. He's going to recall the probe. Cheeky one. Probably assumed that it was going to be a Reaper opener. But yeah, not a Reaper opener this time around. It's going to be the double barracks here, or the double marine production. And then a follow-up with 2 more barracks as well from the Terran player in red. He's doing this because he needs to get a bunch of units out, going for an extremely greedy 3rd command center. This is one of those openers that can 100% die to just regular good old aggression. In this case, though, considering Rotti is gonna go for, of course, his beloved Stargate, I don't think it's gonna hurt him too much. If this was like an Oracle first, it could actually be a little bit more painful, but I think all things considered, Drunkenboi should be okay. A bit of a gamble. I don't think you want to go ahead and build that really quick 3rd command center if you're a ladder player, but if you know your opponent is likely gonna play more passively as well, you should be in a pretty good spot. Alrighty, so we'll see what Rotti decides to do. Rotti is actually one of the players as well who likes to go for the Stargate air weapon upgrades. So I've never really played against a lot of people on the ladder that like to go for heavy Phoenixes, but then also get +1 early on in the cybernetics core. Since like the Phoenixes shoot like little beams from both sides, right? They actually effectively get, well, both of the beams get +1 damage with an upgrade. They effectively get +2 per hit that they do, which is really sick. So, yeah, I have not really seen any of the highest level Protoss players go for heavy Phoenix focus. But Rotti, well, he's gonna at the very least show it off in this game. We'll see how it's gonna end up playing out. He's actually playing super defensively here, leaving those Phoenixes close to his base, making sure that he knows about any kind of incoming medivac. If this was gonna be like a Widowmine drop or something along those lines, he would 100% be able to pick that up. Now, even grabbing the watchtower right here with one of the probes. In the meantime, though, in the camp of Terran, Drunkenboi is just simply building up rather his marine count. Finally going for the factory right here. That is obviously super late, right? But he has to at the very least build a bunch of marines so he can hold on if this was going to be a bit of a more aggressive opener here from Rotterdam. Obviously, this does mean that the medevacs and whatnot will be significantly delayed. Already, by the way, a robotics bay follow-up as well as double forge. So Roddy probably realizing here, okay, you know what? Terran's playing super greedy. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. He hasn't seen the third command center, but at the very least that he knows, he seems to know at the very least that something is not quite right. Going for the double forge as well as the robo bay, a little bit greedy. Now, one of the things that you can do, you will finally figure out about the third command center. One of the things you can do, or one of the things rather you can do with the Phoenixes is harass, but also scout like crazy. If you see that the Terran player is moving out, you can swoop back in and get a whole bunch of damage done while these Marines are away from home. And that's the scary part. Like, Phoenixes are surprisingly tanky units, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see him swooping into those mineral lines a couple times more, even if there is a missile turret waiting for these flying Protoss units. Extended thermal lens coming up as well. So this is going to be, I guess for all intents and purposes, like a Colossus... A Colossus Phoenix-based army. I guess if there's one thing really good at fighting Marines, it is going to be the Colossus. Generally speaking, Terran players will switch to either Mass Marauder against that, or later on into the game. It depends on how many Colossus there are, or how many Colossi there are. Generally speaking, we see them switching into Vikings to counter the Colossi as well. But I guess if you already have a whole bunch of Phoenixes in the air, using Vikings as a counter probably won't work nearly as well. Anyways, Phoenix is picking up whatever they can. Ooh, big stim being utilized. Keep in mind, there's no medevacs here. Yeah, so this was Drunkenboi playing the roulette table right there with stim. Hope that the Phoenixes would not be paying attention for a little bit and maybe get underneath and snipe a couple. Not gonna happen this time around, and most of that army here takes quite a bit of damage. And I think that means that Terran, yeah, it's once again forced to go back home. Alrighty. So relatively laid back game here so far from Drunkenboi, who's just really building up his influence in the main, right? Just building up the amount of production that he can get and just slowly but surely getting himself the upgrades and building up his army count. Rotti, though, is using a lot of his time as well to go for Phoenix Colossus. Now, Phoenix Colossus is not a very common unit composition. It's not something we see, at least not with this much of a focus. And by the way, we do see... No, never mind. Did we already see +1? No, we didn't. Okay, I was going to say. Maybe he will decide to go for the Phoenix upgrades here in a little bit. I think it's actually a good idea. He doesn't have a lot of gas, obviously, at this point. So there's a little bit risky. Ooh, nice hit squad there of Marines. They tried to get one of the Phoenixes, but yeah, like I mentioned, Phoenixes, surprisingly tanky. One of them will eventually get picked off, but I think that's a trait that Protoss will make any day of the week. So look at that. 3 Phoenixes in total so far in this game, but 12 SCVs, 5 Marines, and a Reaper. Very good trait. Very, very good trait. And look! Oh my god, Drunkenboi even giving one of these supply depots a head. That's incredible. It's one of the things that we always like seeing. Alrighty, now, here's the thing. Once this Terran army gets big enough, it's probably going to be able to march across the map and deal quite a bit of damage, right? Phoenixes, while they can be useful in fights against, say... I don't know, Marine siege tank, they're not gonna be ideal when it comes to fighting just massive clumps of Marines. They will likely not get that much damage in the actual engagement. So even though we see a pretty high amount of army supply here for Rotti, it's low. Ooh, nice catch once again. It's low in comparison to Drunkenboi. Bunch of Phoenixes die. And essentially, all of these Phoenixes that we do see, they have to be taken out of the equation as far as the army supply count goes. Maybe they can pick up a couple of units while they're walking across the map, but they're really not going to get that much done in an actual fight. So most of the fight will probably have to take place between these Colossi and then whatever other units Rotti has on the ground. Double Immortal production right now is a follow-up as well. I think that's a response to seeing the amount of Marauders so far. There were a bunch of them. There they are. Widow Mines is a follow-up right now as well. I like this a lot. This is actually going to be a pretty scary fight, though. Look at the supply count, right? Drunkenboi heavily outpacing his opponent as far as the supply count goes. This can be a little bit confusing. I mean, yes, he does have the much bigger army supply count right now, but this is not really an army that will likely move across the map anyway until it's maxed out. So yes, Rotti will likely go up to a maxed out army slower. His eventual army composition is going to be more powerful. Alright. 4th base right now being acquired here as well. You see the same happening on the side of Drunkenboi, who's slowly building up that 4th command center. At some point, though, these armies are gonna have to clash, right? Still producing more Colossi. Double Phoenix right now at the same time as well. Did we, by the way, see +1? Yeah, we did see the +1 flyer weapon upgrade. I like it a lot. It's a pretty cool upgrade. Anyways, these Marines are not gonna be able to get anything done. You kidding me? Oh my god, Jimmy, get out of there. They did open up the front door, I guess, for a bit of a pressure here in the natural, but this also is dealt with ease. And slowly, actually, I'm really starting to like Rotti's precision in this game. Slowly but surely, the Colossus count is climbing. He's gonna go up to a massive amount of Colossus. So wait, hold up. It's 5 right now, 2 more coming out. Normally, right, in a regular good old Protoss versus Terran, we see Protoss is getting maybe 3. In a crazy scenario, maybe 4 Colossi. The reason why we don't see Colossus that much is because at some point, Terran can just overwhelm it. Marauders and Vikings can deal a heck of a lot of damage. I guess the issue is that if there's this many Phoenixes up in the air, they can pick up a lot of units, but they can also deal that counter damage to any potential Vikings. So that means that the Colossi won't really have their natural predator. Okay, now, I like this, though. Drunkenboi not even attempting to go Vikings in the first place. I think that's the right call. Just focusing on more Marauders. So, Colossi back in the day, they used to do a lot of damage to basically everything on the ground. Nowadays, they are very specifically, especially good against light units. And with light units, I'm talking like, for example, Zerglings, Hydralisks, but more importantly in this match, the Marine. They really are not very good against Marauders, which are not classified as light, and they probably will take quite a bit of damage. Now, we do see a couple of Ghosts in the mix as well. Maybe Drunkenboi is assuming... Maybe he just wants to EMP the Protoss army. Not a bad idea, obviously. We're moving the shields. But maybe he's assuming that this is going to be a High Templar transition as well. Instead, we see the Fleet Beacon coming up. Even the, what's it called? Anion Pulse Crystals? Did I get it right? I think I did. We'll see it on the right-hand side of the screen in just a little bit. It's the ranged upgrade for the Phoenixes, giving them a little bit more ranged. That is an upgrade we don't see very often. Anion Pulse Crystals. Did I get it right? Come on, game. Give me this one time. I don't always get my upgrades right, but I think I nailed it. By the way, we see Ghosts coming up. Well, no. Gravitic boosters? No. Yes! Anion Pulse. I got it, guys. I did it. GG. I won. I'm not even in the game, and I still... I still won. This is gonna be good, though. So rather than focusing his efforts on making Vikings, we now see Drunkenboi building a heck of a lot of nukes. More and more Ghost Academies, at the very least, are coming up. And usually you don't build multiple Ghost Academies unless you want to build multiple nukes. Alright. This army, though, of Rotti is on the prowl. Do you want to move down into that convex? I don't know. That's rough. As we all know, the concave beats the convex. That is a lot of disruptors connecting as well, but the Marauders are starting to hit some of the Colossi that are exposed at the northern end. The Phoenix is desperately trying to deal as much damage as possible, picking up a couple of the Marauders, but eventually, like, look at this. The Terran army is just a little bit too big, and Drunkenboi is going to be able to, at the very least, pick up a lot of these very, very expensive Colossus. And that's the thing. This army from Terran, it builds so much faster, right? It rebuilds so much quicker than the one of the Terran. If you look at the units lost right now, it still is in favor right here of Protoss, but that was a lot of very expensive units that take a very long time to build. Triple robotics facility? Really? Triple robotics facility and double Stargate. It's like Rotterdam forgot all about gateway units. I mean, we've seen a couple gateway units, but he's just trying to build up that really, really large, you know, I guess Protoss death ball, right? Whereas a lot of Terran players are struggling right now against like Charge Zealots and, you know, the variety of openers. This, oh my god, the Phoenixes. Dude, look at the +1 upgrade. It's massive. They're gonna finish +2. They're gonna get the command center for their troubles. Really nicely done. Anyways, while a lot of Terran players right now are struggling heavily... Oh my god, that's so much damage! They're struggling heavily against Charge Zealots and, you know, Blink Stalker openers and all that. None of that is happening in this game, as Rotti likes to do the Rotti builds. He decides to play his completely unique strategy. Alright. And it's cool, right? Because you can still, like, mix and match different strategies, even at this level of play. Really, really nice. Anyways, I see nukes, guys. How many nukes are there? There's still one on the production, or rather on that units tab already as well. So we'll see if it's gonna come into play. One nuke though. Look at it. Making its way across the map. Now nukes are very common in Zerg versus Terran. They are very uncommon in Protoss versus Terran. I'm not entirely sure how well Protoss players are capable, or how well they're capable of denying this kind of style. Because the Ghost is getting in position, and it's completely unscouted right now. I mean, who expects nukes right now? There it is. Moving on the left-hand side of the screen, currently called up by this one Ghost. Rotti not responding to it or to it so far. I mean, he has to find that red dot, but that red dot is very tricky to find, and that is a lot of dead probes. Whew. Yeah, these Phoenixes have been worth their weight in gold, but right now, the Protoss army is actually out of position as well. Drunkenboi strikes forward with a very conventional unit composition while mixing in those Ghosts, and that Nexus dies in just a couple seconds, and with that, a whole bunch of probes will be caught off guard as well. Another nuke, though, deployed right now, once again on that same base. I don't even see the Ghost right now. Where is it? Dude, am I blind? Oh, it's right there. Nah, I'm just blind. At the same time, though, big fight here on the left-hand side of the map. The Colossi, once again, trying to beam their lasers at as many of those Marauders as possible, but most of the Marauders, well, they did get picked off, but a lot of them stayed alive, and they killed a bunch of Colossi. Still going to town. The Phoenix is out of energy, trying to pick up the Medivacs now instead. Dude, okay, once again, another Ghost going up with a nuke, right? But, dude, seriously, how much value have these Phoenixes provided? I don't understand that not more of the top-level players play heavy Phoenixes. Maybe not necessarily in this matchup, but like especially in Protoss versus Zerg, they pretty much always get value. Oh, big disruptor hits, blowing up a ton of those SCVs. And yeah, Rotti, I think he successfully analyzes here that he can't engage against that planetary, not with that many Marauders behind it. He does get a lot of kills, but a lot of probes were killed as well. This is a sick game. I like it. Very cool. Oh my god, that Ghost. She tried. She screamed. Didn't make it to the other side of the map, though. Once again, that command center is going to try and be acquired over here. Not a good spot here for these Colossi. Basically caught completely off guard. The Disruptors, oh my god, everything gets picked off for free. I mean, yeah, a couple of Marines and Marauders were killed, I suppose, but that is a trait that Drunkenboi will make any day of the week. Phoenix is, of course, still busy picking up value, picking up 1 billion SCVs. Dude, look at this, right? There's a missile turret there that's supposed to be the counter. At least that's what a lot of people consider to be the counter against those early game Phoenixes. But I guess even in the mid game, if you have some of them alive... Oh, nicely done there on those Widow memes. Yeah, even in the mid game, these Phoenixes continue providing more and more value. And in total, I think the majority of that must have been killed by the Phoenixes, right? 54 workers. Well, we saw one big disruptor hit over here as well. Or 55 workers. That's so much. All right. You know what? I'm wondering here what would happen if we saw a bunch of... Maybe just a bunch of, like, Zealots? Like, just Zealots wouldn't be a bad idea. I kind of feel like that might be a good switch right now to make. Zealots with Charge. Especially now that they have 3/3 upgrades. They can deal a stupid amount of damage. I like the idea of going for Colossi and Disruptors, but I kind of feel like maybe a switch towards Marauders, Disruptors, and Zealots. I mean, I think that would work out really well. Maybe a couple Archons in the mix as well. Drunkenboi has, for all intents and purposes, stopped the majority of his Marine production. Really focusing a lot more on the Marauder right now, and I think that's smart. Look at the amount of tech labs right here on these barracks. That's insane. That's not something we normally see in this matchup. I guess what Rotti is counting on right now is getting one really big Disruptor hit. Once again, I want to look right here at the units lost. Slowly but surely, it seems to be inching in favor of Terran. Although it's pretty even at this point. 15 Colossi have gone down. 21 Phoenix. That's a Rotti game right here, guys. I love it. Alright. So, a lot of SCVs were killed. But Drunkenboi, he's not really deviating from plan, right? Yeah, he lost his base once over here. But he's now finally mining these minerals, and that's really important. He ended up killing the Nexus over here. He knows about the base that's been acquired by Protoss here in the center, but most of these bases of Rotti are starting to run very, very low. Phoenix is, of course, once again swooping in, killing about 1 billion SCVs. Very, very classic. It's what we see pretty much every time, but at the same moment, this Marine Marauder Ghost army is moving towards the production here of Protoss. I mean, yeah, you can pick up the Nexus. That's going to hurt the gas income here primarily. The Phoenixes kill literally every single SCV at that base, but the majority of the Protoss army is standing in the center of the map. That's a lot of lost production here for Protoss, but at the very least, that's still manageable. Ideally, Rotti doesn't want to engage without the Phoenixes present, but since the Phoenixes just picked up a lot of SCVs, they don't have the energy to continue picking up more and more of these units. So this might actually be a moment as well for Drunkenboi to strike. Even though ideally you don't really want to fight on a bunch of these photon cannons, I don't think it's necessarily a terrible suggestion right now. You know what though? Even when you kill 100 SCVs, right? Mules are still very good units. Oh, I like this. Using a ghost right there for zoning purposes. So the nuke will try and at the very least force Protoss into a bit of a funnel over here. Well, there we go. It's not gonna go down as the disruptors get a pretty good connection. Nice snipe right there by Drunkenboi as well. On the disruptor that was still deploying its purification nova. 3 robotics facilities right now being produced, but here we go. Big stim being activated. Keep in mind, most of the medevacs have fallen in this game, so these bio units cannot repair nearly as easily, but look at the amount of bio, look at the upgrades. They are able to smash a Nexus in just a couple seconds. Once again, a nuke, and that nuke is so clever as well. That nuke is essentially now forcing Rotti to stay on top of the ramp. He can't move down. I mean, unless he gets the ghost, but that is a gamble. I actually kind of feel like Drunkenboi should use this opportunity right now to move to the right. Try and see if he can pick up that Nexus. I mean, he saw probes moving in that direction. Still, though, he doesn't really want to lose position right here at the bottom of this ramp, so he's being cautious. 3 more nukes are being acquired here. And once again, there's a little bit of a lull in the game. Guess what happens? The Phoenixes move across the map. And, well, I'm sorry, SCVs. I don't know if this was part of your contract when you first started working for the Terran Dominion, but man... Didn't expect those, did you? Even though your brothers have already fallen by them as well. 85 SCVs in total, but guys, a lot of mules, right? Mules are still going to be very helpful, and Drunkenboi is going to be able to continue producing this army. Now, it takes 1 disruptor hit right here for Rotterdam to absolutely smash this army. Yeah, you got to be conservative, though. Right now, you see Drunkenboi only activating Stimpack on a couple of his Marines and Marauders. Using it on everything is rough. And what a disruptor is looking. It wants to deal damage so bad. It's like, come back, Terran boys. Well, did manage to get at the very least, I think, 2 units right there for his troubles. One of them somehow, some way, had its carcass shot all the way over there. It's not really the value that you're looking for. All right. So lots of damage, left and right. Base on the left right here being acquired as well by Drunkenboi. I think this is his old main base. Floating over towards that base on the left. Actually, it could be this one over here. I'm not entirely sure. Finally, we see some Widow Mines burrowed in the mineral line as well as missile turrets. I think if he would have done this like 5 minutes ago, even 10 minutes ago, he would have been in a much better spot. Because once again, the Phoenixes swoop in. Yep, nice mules you got there. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to them. They get picked off. And while they don't show up right here as SCVs killed on the left-hand side of the screen, they still certainly... are very valuable. Obviously, 1 mule mines for like 6 SCVs, even though it's only available temporarily. That was effectively killing like, I don't know, 30 SCVs there? Very painful. Very painful indeed. Alright. So I think Rotti is gonna go back to the plan that he had earlier, right? Max out once on 1 really big army and then try and see if he can obtain the victory in 1 big engagement. Dude, he's EMPing. Oh, dude! Oh, that was so much. He thought he could get the snipe on the purification unit there. So basically, if you snipe the disruptor while it's deploying purification nova, the nova is cancelled. So that's why we saw Drunkenboi not even trying to micro out of it. That was a big hit there. Once again, Phoenixes, they want to make their way across, but yeah, they saw the second missile turret. I kind of feel like the second missile turret makes these Phoenixes not want to engage in the first place. There's Widow Mines there, though. Yeah, I don't know. Little bit of a tricky engagement. I think if you go with the double Widow Mine, you probably don't want to go with the second missile turret. Am I crazy? You kind of want these super low hit point Phoenixes to hit. Oh, this time around, the Disruptor does get a kill. Phoenix is trying to pick up a couple of those units. Nice medevac control, using the boost. Now the Colossi are waiting though, and keep in mind there's a lot of Disruptors. 1 Purification Nova, and this game is heavily in favor of Protoss. 1 good EMP on all of those Phoenixes though, and I feel like Drunkenboi can engage that army much, much easier. These medevacs are critical to stay alive. How many have been going down so far? Once again, by the way, we see a nuke deployed, trying to zone away this Protoss army. Nice hit, and I think that's going to be the end of that nuke. But at the very least, the base is already gone, and Drunkenboi once more decides to deploy another nuke. Tries to see if he can get an engagement. It's tricky though. Do you want to engage into this? I guess if you can get a decent connection, it's okay. Once again, big damage. But oh my god! He thought... I think he killed... He thinks he... Oh my god! He thought he killed the ghost! I forgot to talk there for a little bit. He thought he killed the ghost. Oh, dude. It looked like he killed the ghost. I thought he did as well, but then the red circle still appeared. Obviously, we see a big red circle, right? But all that the Protoss sees at that point in the game is just a red dot. And Roddy says, GG, mate. As he recognizes that then one nuke is enough to end it all. I thought an EMP on the Phoenixes would be enough for that Terran army to get a favorable trade, but I guess I didn't really consider the fact that you could just nuke everything. Insane. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below, and if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I'll see you once again in the next one.